It's the proper introduction video. I hate these. I hate the introductions for anything. My name is Danielle. I'm a mother of 5 kids, 11, 8, 6, 6, and almost 5. He'll be 5 on the 1st of December, so close enough to just start considering him 5. Have some other birthdays coming up in February and March, but for now, it's 11, 8, 6, 6, and 4, almost 5. I currently live with family, although not as much with them as I used to, as part of the having my username being Mad House Witch is I'm a stay-at-home mom, so that house witch, and I do deal a lot more with the domestic kitchen witchery side. Incorporating crafts and things into the craft. It's fun. Next door in the barn, which is where we were up until a couple months ago, is my grandma, my grandpa, my uncle, and part-time his 3 daughters. And now my other uncle's over there. He was here. But with 7 of us, we're downstairs, and the rest were upstairs. It's a remodeled barn. It's huge. But now we're in the farmhouse, my husband, myself, and our 5 kids. It's taking a little bit of adjustment. I'm not used to it. It's got a lot more room, but I'm just not used to it. And this house needs a lot of work. Like, all the windows need replaced. The floors need replaced throughout. Upstairs is fine, but downstairs really needs work. So, it's a little crazy here. Just a little smidge. It's something we've decided to do because it helps us and it helps my grandparents, and a lot of people do think that it's absolutely nuts, but it's got perks to it too. Like, we're out in the country, so I have a lot of freedom that I wouldn't have other places. I got on my path, and I don't even know specifically what to call it. If I will say I'm pagan, and I say I'm a witch, the majority of my path is a Wiccan one. It's where I get like 99% of my structure. And it boggles my mind when you get into the whole witch versus Wiccan debate. 10-foot pole. I'm not. I see the reason for wanting a distinction, but I also see it's like a difference that makes no difference has no real difference. Because most people who are like, well, I'm not Wiccan because I don't follow the reed, you can find paths that have an interpretation of the reed that most people would be able to follow. So it's just kind of which camp you're in. That's what it really comes down to. And I'm not sure where I'm at. I've been solitary my entire path. I'm kind of hoping to change that a little bit here. But I think I've been solitary long enough that I'm not going to conform to any other path specifically. But my local group has a full moon ritual coming up, and they seem like a really good group. I went to a class Monday before last. They had an astrology class, and I'm now prepared for the second part of it, which should be happening in January. But they have the full moon ritual on the 28th, and I'm really looking forward to that. Because I've not participated in any group rituals whatsoever. So I guess after a long, almost 2 decades, almost, not quite, of my solitary practice, I'm probably going to stick with that for the most part. But it was a combination of the movie Pocahontas, Disney movie Pocahontas, but that really got me starting the theme with the whole sacred earth and nature, and I kind of already had that. When I was really little, first, second, and third grade, I went to a Lutheran private school. And my mom and I attended the church that ran the school, because she got a waiver on some of the tuition. And at that same time, I was going to the Unitarian Universalist Church with my great-grandparents. And as you can guess, those two things did not really mesh that well together. Initially, it started as me rejecting the UU teachings and not going to church anymore with my great-grandparents, because one day in the Sunday school religious education portion, they said that some cultures believed that the sun was a god and the moon was a goddess. I find this hugely ironic because of where I am now. But after that is when I really started questioning all of the things in general, and I really came to the realization myself at around age 7 that I didn't believe in hell. I didn't believe that that God, who was an all-loving God, would send you somewhere to be punished for all eternity. It just didn't set right in my mind. I mean, especially when you have a God that's a somewhat parental figure, and my parents. I mean, what parent does that to their kid? When parents no, you did something bad. Go to your room forever and be poked with hot pokers. So shortly after that my best friend ended up moving to Olympia, Washington. So I'm in Washington over here in the West Coast, the east side of the blue state, the red side of the blue state. But she moved, and it was a small school, so there wasn't a lot of opportunities to make other friends. So it was not very much fun after that. So I went ahead and we transferred over to a public school, and I probably was more an agnostic for quite a while until Pocahontas and the movie The Craft. Now, I know when you mention The Craft, that automatically puts a bunch of people oh my god, Fluffy Bunny! I hate that term. I'm with Joanna DeVoe, where, embrace it, because what's wrong with Fluffy Bunny? And if you want to be a Fluffy Bunny, be a Fluffy Bunny. Just don't push it on other people. It goes with anything else. Don't push it on other people. Because there's really nothing wrong with positivity and love and light and all that. It doesn't work for most people, but if you can make it work, then cool. And after, I finally watched The Craft, and it was oh my god, is that real? Is there anything like that? So, in the early days of the internet, I started my research on the web. Probably not the best place to have started research. But in general, I had a mixed bag of what I ended up with. The first really one I remember reading was Green Witchcraft by Anne Mora. That's got a mixed review on it. I read a lot of Silver Ravenwolf. I read Cunningham. I read Buckland. I read everything I could get my hands on at that time. After I got into it, my mom looked into it, and she decided she really liked the goddess spirituality side of it. So, and then her best friend kind of got into it too, so somewhere along the line, I got loaned a copy of Janet and Stuart Farrar's Witch's Bible. Is it A Witch's Bible or The Witch's Bible? Whatever. Most of you are going to know what I'm talking about. So it wasn't all fluffy stuff that I was in reading and all that. So I'd like to think I got a pretty good basics of what's going on with everything else. But that doesn't stop people from doing their backbiting, and you can't call yourself that. And yeah. Which is an odd thing that I kind of internalize that, because I'm not with, like, other pagans most of the time. So my path is my path, and that is what it is. It's pretty much the basis of it. You know, high school, we did the typical, your friends are interested, and you, like, try to join and start a coven, but that ended up being, you know, teenage ego trips. No, I want to be the high priestess. It was awful. So we never got anywhere with that. Period. Aside from maybe doing a couple of get-togethers just in celebration, but it didn't work out for crap. More ums. I think that's basically most of the story. I'm going to be doing Crystal of the Week with that one girl, 662. I wrote her name down so I wouldn't forget numbers. I would have messed up the numbers. I'm going to use this one. It's a little bigger. Chrysanthemum Stone. There's a light on there. Another eBay find. Palm stone, but it fits in my pocket. So, and I should be able to, like, tuck it in my pillowcase and stuff for sleeping. We're going to see how that goes for this week. I'll pick something else. This one just seemed to be the one. Transformation would be good for now. Now I think I'm just at the point of rambling because I can't think of anything else